his head, and there he goes. Abyss gonna clean him up.
Olaf goes down. Everyone's just gonna line up here for Lazzy. He's gonna find himself the Quadra. Give it to him. Pentakill.
Priestley with the quad feet.
Gets the ace. Available just spin to win all over.
That game was insane.
Saints Nation, hello there, and oh my goodness, I'm being ganked already here. Jace making an appearance right off the bat. Bell's playing still with me, but of course, thank you, and welcome to the Saints Gaming CA stream. We are about to get ready with some Play versus Fortnite Trios action, week number 5 here before these squads. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get too much of, or we weren't able to get a broadcast in for week 4, but that being said, Saints did a fantastic job during week 4, placing them in the top 10 of over 200 schools. But without further ado, of course, time is ticking, and it's of the essence. So we're going to be hopping on in to game number 1 pretty well right away. Of course, your players tonight here for St. Clair, the usual squad here for St. Clair. We're going to have Sirius, we're going to have Lasix, and Junie taking flight and looking like, compared to where we've seen them on week number 3, going to be keeping at least a relatively similar landing position. There we go, of course. Now, of course, getting ready to hop on into things. For tonight's action, we are going to be strictly on the point of view of Siri, unless he happens to go down early, in which he will be doing a little bit of camera work for me, whether he realizes that or not. But I think by this point, he knows what's up, so it's going to be a good, long night ahead of us here. So, of course, those who may be unaware here for these Play versus Fortnite Trios game days, basically goes like this. You have 10 rounds or 3 hours total in order to get as many points as you possibly can. Points, what are you talking about? Your points are based off of 2 things: eliminations as well as your positioning at the end of the round. Basically get 2 points per elimination, but every single time your team outlives another team, you basically get another point or 2, depending on how far along you are. The graphic will probably pop up later on to explain this a little bit in more detail, but that's the gist of it nonetheless. It can sometimes be a little bit difficult to follow up on, but trying to make it as easy as possible here on the Saints Gaming CA Twitch channel. Of course, this will be week 3, I believe, of the players being on this new season, this new patch here for Fortnite. Of course, always makes it interesting whenever a game fires off a patch in the midst of a league, but it is still interesting and fun in its chaos, so that's why we're going to be seeing, like, why are you shooting car? Isn't that kind of wasteful? The thing is, you got to try and find specific parts that you can use for crafting later on in the game. Which again, crafting, what the heck? Fortnite has crafting now? Yes, it absolutely does. Being able to modify weapons, make them either a little bit stronger, or give them a secondary effect. As you see right there, the gears, the metal pieces that Siri is picking up can absolutely be useful going towards leveling up either your crossbow or your assault rifle. That's exactly what we're going to actually see him do right here, right now. Able to turn that blue, which was a fine gun in its own right, into that purple scar, which a lot of players really favor in regards to assault rifles. Now, at least to start things off here for St. Clair, they get to sit pretty because they're able to land in their usual location with basically nobody trying to contest them. Do their usual routine without issue. We've seen a couple times over these play versus weeks, especially in the earlier weeks, maybe like week 2 and week 3, that we would see teams actually give a shot at trying to contest Saints at that location. And sometimes Saints would just concede it over and find a different location, but sometimes they would go head-to-head in battles, and that's always a bit of a mixed bag, especially if there happens to be more than one team that happens to land there. And it looks like, speaking of early battles, Lasix is getting open fired upon, and Siri has a decent angle at some of these guys from below. However, not going to quite find any proper shots. Lasix, I think, might have just dropped to his death after getting shoved off by one of the opponents on the other side. Do not know exactly whom's that is, but can definitely tell that they're not here to chit-chat, so to speak. Now, Lasix is going to be a casualty. I know you're going down here relatively early. That being said, though, Junie still in the game alongside Siri, of course. Junie sitting there with no shields, but 75% of his health remaining. And it looks like Junie is going to end up going down as well. Seems to have gotten flanked upon, so this could be a rough start here for St. Clair to start off week 5 if it keeps going the way this is. Siri, the last one alive on the Saints team. I mean, in theory, he could try and go for a reboot card, but at the same time, you have 3 people basically charging down. I don't think Saints got anybody in that scenario, so it's basically Siri on the 1v3. I mean, when we go to the solo side of things, Siri is definitely the highest one on our Saints, but you can see he's going down swinging, but he's not going to quite survive this one. He is going to go down in 27th with his team. Valiant efforts, but unfortunately for him and the rest of the Saints, what seemed like a quiet round actually got completely turned around on them, and they're going to have to settle for 4 points, which is definitely not the kind of start that they were looking for. But of course, they have plenty of time here tonight to try and make that up. Of course, 10 rounds total, for 3 hours. We're going till 11 o'clock at the absolute latest here tonight. So this Fortnite squad definitely has a chance to reboot and get themselves back into the play versus queue in the game itself and hop back in there with pretty much everybody else who is going down early so far in this play versus match. It's early enough that you know anybody that you're queuing up with right now went in swinging and just did not it did not pay off for them, to say the least. So should be interesting in just a moment, just waiting for the queue to pop. But before we do want to quickly touch on that point system that I did bring up a little bit earlier, which is, of course, 3 hours and 10 matches and whatnot. Then, yes, the points itself. So once you start getting into the top 20, top 21 teams, each of your positions go up by 2, and then go into the top 12, and just gets that much more valuable. At least here for St. Clair, with them getting into 27th, they still did manage to score the 1 point, and then I do believe they found the 1 points from, or the 2 points from the elimination. So looking at it here right now, it does say they're sitting here with 4. So it's going to be a little bit of a breather, still waiting for enough players to load up the matchmaking, of course, since Saints went down pretty quickly. So a quick breather will be at hand. And hopefully for game number 2, Saints going to come back swinging, make it to the end, and find themselves some solid eliminations. But we've got plenty of tries to do so. Don't go anywhere. We'll get right back into the action momentarily.